Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Walker, the manager of athlete development here at USA Volleyball. And today I have the privilege of being joined by Myles Cooper, who is our head athletic performance coach for the beach national team. Myles, thanks for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Today, we're going to talk a little bit for athletes about some of the considerations they might have when it comes to the physical demand on the court in the beach game. So, Myles, to get us started, if an athlete is joining beach volleyball competition, maybe from a younger age, they're a high school athlete who might have ambitions to play beach collegiately, what are some things that they might be experiencing physically on the court and might need to train as they're looking to make that transition?
Yeah, so physically, sand is more demanding than indoor. And so I would recommend a younger athlete just develop a good work capacity. So the ability to handle a lot of work, to tolerate a lot of work. Would recommend if they have access to a performance coach, would start there. But if not, could probably focus on a lot of bodyweight exercises, making sure that their technique is sound and just being able to, do a lot of reps and just be able to handle the rigors of what beach is going to throw at you because it's, in terms of workload and aerobic output, it's going to be a lot more than indoor is.
Absolutely. It's a different
Yeah.
beast, a different
Yeah,
game
different.
that you
Yeah,
play.
completely different sport.
So as you think about the ability to move quickly on the court, what are some of the key physical competencies that we need to be able to be quick and reactive on the court?
So I always like to start with having a good relative strength, and what that means is being strong enough for your body weight. So just being able to increase the strength, to use your body well, to use your body as best as you can, and that will typically help with being able to be explosive and being able to jump high, being able to change direction quickly. Because generally strength is what we build, power on, we build speed on. So once you get a good strength base, that's going to help with change direction. That's going to help with being able to get up out of the sand quickly. That's going to help with being able to decelerate and change directions quickly. So I always like to focus on, number one, making sure that they have good movement patterns, and then also just trying to increase their relative strength.
So if I'm an athlete training, how do I know if I have good movement patterns?
You get a good performance coach that can help you recognize that. But there's a lot of good information out on the internet now, so you can probably Google some videos, and you can, if you can, reach out to some performance coaches just to get the basics down. Yeah, start simple. You don't need to, be at a level 10. As soon as you start with the basics, get a good understanding of what proper movement is, and then work from there.
So if I'm looking for a well-qualified strength and conditioning coach who maybe can help consult in that space, how do I find that?
So typically you want to look for what's called the CSCS, a certified strength conditioning specialist. You can get a USAW, so a USA weightlifting level 1 certified coach. You can go on various websites, and you can find personal trainers with the required credentials. So yeah, there's different ways, but hopefully, if a lot of high schools are getting certified strength coaches now, and then even obviously in the college ranks, you get some good strength conditioning coaches.
Absolutely. So if we change context a little bit here, and I'm the athlete who maybe has a good base because I played collegiately, but have realized that my indoor career is winding down and maybe I want to make the transition to beach, what are some considerations you see with those athletes?
So physically, like I stated before, just making sure that your aerobic fitness is a lot better. The workload is a lot higher compared to indoor. So you're going to be, again, depending on what position you played in indoor, you're going to be changing direction a lot more. You're going to be covering more distance during the game. There's only two of you as opposed to six. So you're going to need to be well-rounded with your skill set. So just understanding that is going to, it will determine how you approach it. But just physically, getting a good work capacity base so we can start at the base of the pyramid and just work on your endurance and work on your building your aerobic system, because that's going to help you recover between points, between matches, between sets, between days. So getting a good aerobic base, a good foundation of that's obviously going to help set you up for success when you move into the beach game.
Absolutely. So if I'm one of your athletes who's working with you in that capacity, Take me through maybe what you would have me do in an average day to hit those.
So let's start in the off season. Right now is when we're building a lot of that aerobic base. So even for some of our experienced athletes, they've just had a long season. It's been stressful. They've been traveling. We've been training heavy in here to keep their strength up. So now we're shifting gears a little bit, giving the nervous system some time to relax, letting their bodies just kind of de-stress. So now is when we focus on a lot of volume. So a lot of sets, a lot of reps, a lot of movements, moving quickly. So we're decreasing the rest that they have in between sets and reps. So again, just working on that work capacity and trying to improve that. So then when we move into the preseason, they have a good aerobic base set, and then we'll move into transition into strength building so let's say January, that February time. Once competition starts, most of the competitions start up in mid to late March. So depending on what competitions the athletes are going to participate in, that will dictate when I start to shift into an in-season mode. So off-season is for the aerobic capacity and the workload building. Preseason, January, February, we start to build that strength, and then into February/March is where we start working on speed, power, explosiveness. We never really take those characteristics out of the program. They're just in different percentages. So you might not have as much plyometric activity in the off season, but we'll shift to a jump rope instead of, squat jumps. And so as we move into the season, because they're going to be higher, they're going to have a higher workload on sand, then we'll decrease the aerobic demands in here. Then we'll focus more on speed and strength. We'll take the volume of what they're doing down low. So it's not as much volume, but it's higher intensity because they're already getting their volume on sand. So we just kind of shift proportions of what they're encountering in the weight room.
Absolutely. So if I'm making that transition from indoor to beach, and I don't know, again, who to look for in a strength and conditioning, is at that point in that level where you're a little bit further in your competitive career, is it more important to find a strength and conditioning coach who's familiar with beach and what the season is like?
Yes, I would recommend that because there's a lot of details that unless you've experienced beach, some performance coaches, they just might not know. Nothing against them if they haven't experienced it. They just might not know about what the travel is like, how long you're on the road, the countries that you're going to, the different demands of the beach game versus the indoor game, what practices are like on sand every day, and then how to manage those loads and manage all the stress that the athlete is undergoing at any point in time in their season. So having a good understanding of beach is imperative for a performance coach, just so you can start to turn the appropriate knobs and dials throughout the season, knowing when to increase training, knowing when to decrease training, knowing when to, just watch an athlete walk in and say, okay, you know what? You've had a hard day. Let's make a quick adjustment on the fly. Just so because we want to challenge them, obviously, but we don't want to push them into any kind of, overtraining or not giving them adequate time to recover.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this conversation for the athletes, any other considerations or recommendations you have when it comes to thinking about the physical side of their training?
Yeah, I would also, if you have this available to you, lean heavily on each member of that performance team. So not just the performance coach, not just the sports coach, but the athletic trainer, the dietitian, the sports analyst. All of us have our different roles, and depending on what the athlete needs, I don't know if you're familiar with FIFA, but in FIFA they have, the rankings, so speed, passing, defense. That's kind of how I see developing athletes. So is being more physical one of their needs? Is, improving their nutrition one of their needs? Are they always injured and they need help on the rehab side? Is it just game knowledge, tactical and technical? So depending on what the athlete needs, that's where they can focus their training. So not looking at it in a vacuum, but kind of breaking it down and saying, okay, where are my individual needs at? Am I really fit and I'm never injured, but I just might not have a lot of beach experience? Okay, you'll probably lean more on the performance, the sports coach and the sports analyst. But let's say that you play the beach game a lot and you're just not very fast, you're just not very explosive, you might get injured a lot. okay, then you're going to be leaning heavily on me, the performance coach, the dietitian, and the athletic trainer. So just figuring out where your weaknesses are at, where you need to focus your time so you can be efficient and develop properly and not just kind of throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Absolutely. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us today, Myles, and sharing your wisdom.
Oh, thank you.